Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Coffee Break. This is Dr. Michelle Alignay. It's another week and another exciting discussion on family life, well-being, and faith. So join me, share this to your friends. This live stream, either I'm coming to you via YouTube or in Facebook. This is also available in Spotify. So, kumusta kayo? And I am so excited. Lagi naman ako excited whenever I come here to Coffee Break. But what we're going to talk about this afternoon is something that we don't really discuss. Yun yung napansin ko. Parang lumalabas lang madalas sa atin. Pero minsan, tayo mismo, we do not confront our own insecurities. We do not confront people. We do not deal with people who are showing signs of insecurity. Di ba? Parang this is like what we call the elephant in the closet. This insecure person, he's affecting so much of our lives. Pero little did we know that that insecurity is already affecting our relationship, our ability to deal with each other, and other aspects of our lives, even our own well-being. So, tingnan natin ha. We would like to deal with insecurity, but I would like to ask the people here or who are already joining me in this live session. Alam ko some of you are here. Hindi lang kayo nagkasalita kung sino kayo, but please friends, what comes to your mind when you hear the word insecure? Pag narinig nyo, ay, insecure yan. Oh, that person, he has a lot of insecurity. Can you just share with me what are your thoughts about a person with insecurity? What's your image? What's your perception? What's your mindset about a person with insecurity? Can you put that in the comment section? Pwede mo bang ilagay dyan? What really happens to you when you hear, ay, insecure yan. Ay, ito yung nangyayari dyan. Can you share your comments? Can you share your thoughts? Could it be somebody near you? Could it be sometimes tayo rin minsan nako-confront ang ating insecurity? Dok, posible, ayan, ang bibilis na ating mga kasama. Angst, inggit, yeah? Di ba jealousy rin? The last time I told you, parang jealousy is not a sign of love, but it's a sign of insecurity. So, oh, wow, friend, Rose, nandyan ka pa rin. Lack of confidence. Yes, tingnan natin, alam mo, minsan there's so many people who struggle with insecurity, lalong-lalo na ngayon that it's actually, in the age of social media, what you realize is that we tend to compare. Tama ka, Jean. We tend to compare. It's easy for us to be drowned in our own insecurity. Just try to do this experiment. Go to your feed. Maybe during a weekend, during a happy occasion, or merong event. Go to your feed and look at the people in your news feed. And I'm gonna tell you, it might be nandyan ka online, if it's not news, but it's the personal accounts of your friends whom you're following, it might, or maybe the social media influencers and the celebrity that you are following, it might be easy to have that pangs of insecurity because you realize that, hey, ba't ganito yung buhay niya? Parang when we were younger, di ba? Bakit siya meron, ako wala? Have you tanong ko sa inyo, friends, we're always direct here naman in Coffee Break. Have you ever experienced insecurity? Have you ever been insecure about one person, about a situation? Yung pagpasok mo parang, oh my God, parang hindi ako dapat dito. Parang lahat sila fitting. Me, I'm not fitting. But whose standards are we really checking, di ba? Yun yung minsan why are we insecure? Because we lack that sense of security. Sense of security with what? Sense of security with ourselves, sense of security with our relationship, sense of security with too many other things. Walang nagko-comment sa inyo, walang umamin if you had this bouts of insecurity. So, many people struggle with insecurity. First thing, they have poor self-concept. Many people who struggle with insecurity, they have poor self-concept. They have low, if not tweak ways of looking at themselves. Yung tingin nila sa kanila parang they're not fitting. They're not worthy. Ayan, yan minsan marinig natin. Parang, oh my God, I'm not worthy. I'm not fitting. I I am struggling with something. So here, if you look at it, that self concept o yung tingin natin sa sarili, uh it's actually the start of how we build our self esteem. That self concept, or that it's actually where the way we look at ourselves, it's actually we put up our image, actually how we build our esteem, how we carry ourselves with confidence, at kung paano rin tayo makarelate sa ibang tao. Pero I have to tell you, sometimes there would be people who seem very confident but deep inside they're very insecure. That can happen. So, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na ang taong insecure ay mababa yung confidence. Hindi. Kasi there are people who are very, very, even overly confident, but the tendency is that their tendency is to overcompensate because inside they lack self-worth. So another thing is that because people have a tweaked self-image, they battle with an inner critic. Have you encountered that, or have at one point in our lives have we been like that there are things that we're doing, but tayo mismo yung biggest critic. We're comparing ourselves, the standards that we have set. We're so harsh on ourselves. It's like tayo yung sarili nating basher, tayo yung sarili natin tayo yung tagapuna ng sarili natin. It would be good if it's constructive. It would be good for us to uh, to improve ourselves. But sometimes we have that inner critic, and the tendency is that we're so harsh on ourselves. Have you been in that situation? Nangyari na ba yan sa inyo? Na tayo mismo, we call ourselves names, call yourself, wala naman kwenta, wala ka naman contribution, nakihirapan ka na in anything. Yes, and actually, it can be very hard. Joy, thank you for being honest. You can be very self-critical, but you see, very being so self-critical, that's also hard because sometimes when we're too critical of ourselves, we do not really. The lacking there is that we lack self-acceptance. Yes, Rose, the imposter syndromes happen. Is that, it's a new thing to say. The imposter syndrome happen is that you're trying to pretend someone you're not, or you're trying to live a life that you don't really have because your inner critic tells you that you're supposed to be this way. This is the standard that you're supposed to meet. This is how it's supposed to be done. The imposter syndrome is actually magnified in this age of social media because we would like to have a good news feed. We would like to have something that we can brag about, something that we can post about. And the sad thing is that we would like to show others that we are good in ourselves. So here, if we have a quick image of who we really are, and then there's that lack of acceptance. Ang mahirap dito, insecurity, it's existent to everyone. But I will tell you, it can be based, some people, walang insecurity. Maybe meron. Maybe, at ako personally, minsan parang, oh my God, na-insecure ako pa ganyan. Pero after that, okay. It's just something to think about, but it's not something to get stuck about. That's the bigger difference. Other people get stuck in their insecurities. They cannot move on from their insecurities because they find it hard to be accepting of who they are. Can you relate with what I'm saying? But other people, they take they take their own insecurity as a grain of salt to be good at the area of life where they do best, diba? That is how we deal with it. So, where do you think insecurity comes from? Saan ba galing? Bakit ba yung iba sobrang grabing insecurity nila? Ako, I realized that, one thing I realized, I thought people who know na not perfect in how they look, people would with good body image, alam niyo, akala ko na parang, ang payat naman niya, bakit siya merong insecurity? Bakit ang ganda naman niya? Bakit ito, if you would realize it, even models, even people who we think are the standards, the gold standard of beauty already, you will realize that even these people, each one of us, have this have pangs of insecurity. Lahat posible meron. But the thing is, some are more wounded than others. Why? Because of our growing up experience. Yes, that's true. It's actually the programming that we had from our parents. You're supposed to look this way. You're supposed to act this way. You're supposed to be like your cousins or be at par with your siblings. So we tend to be compared. And the programming is that what we have, some of the things that we can do best, it's not really what was acknowledged. So yung programming natin na dapat parang we meet a certain standard set by the family. We meet a certain standard set by school. 'Di ba? I really hate it. Promise. I really hate it when schools count kids as top 1 to 10 at nilalagyan uh, ng numerical equivalent because it's actually making them see that their worth is just a number. Their worth is equivalent to numbers. I appreciate it if all of the kids who pass this so and so grade will be high honors, like what we're doing now, high honors. Pero I really don't like it that you are tagged na top 1 yan, si top 2 yan, si top 3. I really don't like that syndrome that the previous generation are doing. But you would like because that exactly uh, affects the programming of children, of us, our programming. Another thing is that programming is actually also the insecurity is connected to the security that we felt when we were growing up, especially during our infancy stage. When we were infants, uh, s- sorry, this is sort of quite technical. It has been said by one theory called attachment theory that infants supposed to have bonds with significant people. That's in particular with the parents, especially the mothers. So if an infant was able to establish a secure bond, quote unquote, with the significant people in their lives, then it would be easy for them to navigate life and to grow better because they know that they have a secure base. Sorry for being technical, but that's what we call the attachment theory. So if a child grow up without having a secure base, so ibig sabihin, there might be voids, there might be some lack inside the psyche of that person, and that creates a sense of insecurity kasi wala kang pundasyon kung kanino ka a-anchor. And actually, for the young parents here, that is actually very critical. So, critical talaga yung first year ng baby, especially the first months, because that is where attachment and security is bonded. But some people do not have that. And sadly, it actually is a root also of insecurity. So it's actually caused by that early childhood, early infant experience, and also it can be caused by the programming that we get growing up. So now, our past, all okay, ganun na tayo nung past. Yun ay nangyari. Our past may help us understand. We go through, we go through what we don't. It's not okay to look at our past sometimes because it can be very painful. It can be excruciating. I have to use that word. But what you want to look into is that you have to check the programming that you have in your past so that you can also understand yourself now and how, if you are the person with possible insecurities, you'll be able to see, oh, okay, this is the root. This is the trigger. Na pag nagsimula ng magsabi yung nanay ko, yung kapatid mo, parang yung tenga ko nag-ano na nagre-react na ako eh. Pag when you start talking about achievements, parang I don't want to deal with people already who's talking about just achievements. 'Di ba? That's why we tend not to like some family gatherings, especially if the culture of the family can be toxic, that your worth is dependent on your achievements. Your worth is dependent only on what you're doing, maybe your position in the company. But your worth is also dependent in yung sa mga titles and labels that you have. And that can be, very, 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 very fitting for other people who would not meet the standard to be very insecure. Pero mind you, posible rin naman na yung mga tao na nandun sa posisyon at yung maganda, posible rin naman may insecurity yun eh. Baka nakatago din lang dun sa kanilang titulo at nakatago din lang sa kanilang achievement. So it can be both ways. So how does insecurity manifest? Friends, sa inyo, think of one person, maybe somebody you know, somebody close to you, or somebody you see online. Think of one person and you see, if I think this person has pangs of insecurity, bakit? Sabihin nyo sa akin kung ano yung nakikita nyong manifestation. If you're going to go through the social media feeds, ano yung madalas post ng isang taong insecure? Sa tingin mo, ano? In your opinion, if you if you know how to tell, if you can tell in your own opinion, in your own perception, what is it? Yeah, selfie. Selfie sa umaga, selfie sa hatanghali, selfie sa gabi. Posible? Yes. Because they would like attention. They would like affirmation coming from other people. So, 'di ba, wala namang pinagkaiba yung selfie niya dun sa selfie kahapon, pero they would like to call the attention of other people. Another, material brands. Totoo 'yan, Edlin. Yes, material brands, parang they need to show off everything that they have. They need to show off all the labels. They need to show off that I am capable. But sometimes this selfie and this material brand showing this off, uh it's not actually conscious. Some are conscious that they would like to show it, but other people, hindi lahat ng nagsiselfie at hindi lahat ng nagpo-post ng material brands are insecure. But you would actually see the thread. Ang tawag nga dyan, you would actually see the narrative of people. The narrative of people na parang, hey, ganito na lang talaga yung post niya, ganito lang kababaw lagi. Okay. Ikaw na yung magaling. Yes, Lynette, maybe the ones commenting na ikaw na yung magaling, or sorry, but ako personally, whenever I look at my feed, there are some people who just very authentic with their post. But there are people who only post when they have something new and when they are in a different place. Did you get it? May mga taong ganyan. Ang ipopost lang nila, hindi ka naman araw-araw nagpo-post, pero pag may post sila, travels, achievements, at saka the other one is what you call this, uh, yan, shopping. So, 'di ba? They and also good experiences. So, it can be, I don't know. It's just that there is just some people who would really come to us that, ano ba na naman pinapatunayan niya? Some people can be very oozing with their insecurity, actually. They flex their bodies, they flex their accomplishments, and well, nothing wrong with that. But what can be wrong is that when it's already too much, to the point that parang off na yung iba, 'di ba? So here, we're not here to judge them, but what we would like to look into. Ayan, Yami, patama post. Oo, kasi ayaw nila i-confront. Kasi ma-highlight din when we confront an issue, it also highlight our insecurity. So let's look at the things here. So I would like you to check how insecurity manifests. Self-doubt. Sa sarili natin o sa ibang tao, self-doubt. We're always doubting na parang, kaya ko ba? Hindi ko kaya yan. Tinanggihan ko yung project. Hindi ko kasi kaya and something. Another, they can be overly critical. Ayan, I mentioned this earlier, and I think somebody said that I can be very overly critical. It's nothing wrong to be critical, but if it's overly critical, then parang, bakit kailangan mong pintasan lahat? Sometimes, diba, parang, we do this because we would like to improve. But if you are the one overly critical about yourself and then it's something else, hindi ito madalas makita, but pride and arrogance. 'Di ba? Arrogance. Parang yung talagang yabang niya, parang wow, kahit sa social media mo lang makita, parang wow, hanggang sa atin yung dating. So, ang lakas ng dating. You have to check that some people, they they hide behind some material things, some titles, some positions because they do not want to show that they're insecure. Ah, so you have to understand that some people who are very arrogant because they do not want to show their insecurity, ayaw nilang aminin na meron silang pagkukulang, ayaw nilang aminin na meron silang mali, at ayaw nilang aminin na palpak. Yeah, that's very evident now. Controlling. They would like to be in control of everything. Ayaw nila kasi na may masabi yung iba. Ayaw din nila na parang may mangyaring masama at sila yung masisi. So they tend to be very controlling. They want things their way. Because, being controlling, for me, we would like to have things our way. It's simply because we would like to be in command because we do not want to show that we have lack. We are lacking in some areas. We have insecurity. Another, ito madalas sa relasyon, being enmeshed and codependent. Yung ito very obvious when you go back to my topic on adult self-worth, ito yon, yung sinasabi na being codependent means that you cannot live without a man, you cannot live without a relationship, you cannot be full in yourself, you have to have someone. So why is that? Because you are feeling your lack, you are feeling, we have the tendency to fill our lack, our longing for love, affection, and attention by that relationship. So when the relationship becomes codependent already or very enmeshed that you no longer know who you are, that kind of relationship is actually feeling your worth and it's feeling already that the other person's capacity. You're filling your capacity because there's a lack. So the tendency is that instead of you accepting your lack, the tendency is that your relationship is the one trying to fill it up. Your maybe role as a wife, your role as a mother, your role in service in the church, na parang pag tininggal sa'yo, parang sino pa ako pag hindi ako makapagsilbi. That can be drawn to feeling our lack, ha. So we have to check that. Okay, another one is that victim mentality. Ito very obvious. Victim mentality, yung lagi ako na lang yung kawawa, ako na lang yung victim, ako naman yung nadehado dito. And that's actually the one can eat us up and that can actually bring more insecurities than we ever thought of. Another, overtly comparing. Nako, may kilala kayong ganito? Overtly. I have to use that word, overtly comparing. Lahat na kinumpara, ikinumpara tong Pilipinas sa labas, ay sa ganito kasi ganyan eh, kasi ganito kasi, ay kasi yung kapatid mo ganyan eh, ay yung ate mo ganyan, yung pinsan mo kasi ganyan eh, yung office mate mo ganyan. So, I hate to compare. Well, there are some things that we have to compare as just to benchmark, but not really for it to be the source of our insecurity. Because when we start, these are just top of mind things, ha? So comparing can actually ruin a very nice experience. Diba? Have you encountered that situation that you are having fun, you're in the middle of a good restaurant, or you're with loved ones, napaka-rare na ngayon, diba? You're in the middle of an experience and then somebody, maybe a part of your group, maybe a part of the family would say na, ay, mas maganda dun sa pinuntahan namin dati. Ay, dapat sana ganito na lang yung ginawa natin kasi ano dito, tinan mo ang pangit. So you start feeling bad. You start feeling bad. So this person, why cannot they be satiated? Why cannot be in that moment? Why cannot take the experience as is? Why there's a need to keep comparing? Diba? Are they calling attention? Are they putting forward that they're better than us or somebody is better than us, better in giving us an experience? So you have to check here. Another thing, and lastly, I mentioned this, jealousy or competitiveness. Magkasama, makiwalay. Yes, jealousy is not a sign of love. It's a sign of insecurity. And another one is competitiveness. Yung hindi naman ako nagko-compete, pero parang bakit lagi na lang parang meron kang kakompetisyon? Lagi mo na lang reference na, halimbawa parang, okay, this is something that we did. Ay, kami rin. Ganyan ang ginawa namin. Ay, balak namin gawin yan. Parang, wow, you need to really tell that everything, kailangan mo talaga ng airtime and kailangan mo talaga to compete and ayaw mong nalalamangan. Ayun, yun yung Tagalog nan, ayaw ng nalalamangan. Okay, so those are the things that would like to put forward. So we all have insecurities. I would like to tell it to everyone. We all have insecurities to some degree. Agree? Agree, friends? Meron tayo niyan. Agree with me? Who among you would be brave enough to say that we have insecurities? Can you press heart? Can you press like? Or can you say that? Can you put that statement there? We all have insecurities. And I agree with that. But we don't get stuck in those insecurities. Kaya ako ginawa itong topic na to. Because this is having those insecurities are actually called for us to be more self-aware. Kailangan tayo mismo, before other people will call us out, tayo na mismo yung maging curious about ourselves. And maybe inspect, ay, bakit ako parang inis na inis kanina? Only to find out na kaya tayo minsan naiinis kasi merong inggit. Bakit ako naiinggit? Those emotions, inggit, inis, competitiveness, naaasar ka, parang di mo ma-explain ba't hindi mo siya gusto, that can actually be signals that there is something in another person that we might be wanting, and that is actually a possible sign, a possible arrow. It's pointing us to, hey, there's a tinge of insecurity on this area, but it's good for us not to react but actually to respond through an objective lens. That's why, dealing with our insecurity, it's actually also having that deeper relationship with ourselves. I would repeat that, dealing with our insecurities, we've said that we need to be aware that insecurities are present in everyone to some degree, yes, but they're actually invitation to be more self-aware, to be more reflective, and to be more introspective, or shall I say, to be more curious about who we are. Because we do not get stuck, we do not get pinned down, we do not make ngau because of all this insecurity. But what we need to learn to do is actually be accepting and take responsibility for it. I have to repeat that. What we need to learn to do as mature individuals is actually take hold of that insecurity. Huwag mo nang pangalandakan. Huwag mo na rin itago. Sorry to say, I have to be blunt. Some people, pag tinanggaw mo ng tinako yung insecurity, ayaw mong aminin, lalong nangangamoy. Have you encountered that? You agree with what I'm saying? Have you encountered people na parang ayaw nilang aminin, they're in denial? So, what are the things that you can, if we're aware of it, we need to be aware, accepting, and to be actually responsible. Awareness and acceptance will bring being accountable or responsible. That's three: awareness, acceptance, and accountability. What do you mean by aware? So when, yung sinasabi ko kanina, when we get inis, where we get frustrated about something, we can ask ourselves, bakit ba? Hindi mo nakuha yung gusto mo. Bakit ba? Issue ko to eh. Kailangan kong maayos, kailangan kong magawa. So, we are admitting that that's our issue. So, if we admit, for example, that's our issue, we try to be kind to ourselves. So, okay, tanggap ko na. Ako yung alanganin dito. Gusto ko lang to. Hindi ko naman talaga, hindi naman talaga gusto ng iba. Gusto ko lang gawin because it's gonna fill my lack. There you go. And to be accountable is that kung tayong nakasakit because of our insecurity, we can say sorry to other people and say, I'm sorry, I just really want it done. I just would like really to work on it, but I know that it's very personal because it's really something that I've been wanting, but it's not working. See, that's taking into taking taking it on us, being accountable for our own security. And if we know that we're insecure, it's something that parang, this is something that I really want but I cannot have, and then be accepting of the situation. But right now I cannot have it, and I will take responsibility for it. Either that I pray about it, I kung nakita ng iba at napapansin nila at naaapektuhan sila because of that insecurity. And that is a sign that I need to say sorry. Because actually, our insecurities can affect relationships, and that's the truth. So, here, if we may have insecurities, but we need to be aware. Awareness is key. Acceptance is the next key to be big, to be able to be accountable. There are just some people who are aware but are denying it. But when we look at it as taking stock of ourselves, taking responsibility for ourselves, maybe we'll use this in the light of our spirituality, with the light of faith. Like, if does my God want it that I get stuck with my insecurity? Does God want it that I would just be fixated only on what I cannot do? 'Di ba? Baka I think our God, the Lord, is would want it that we spend more time and energy doing the things that we can do best. Hindi kasi hindi naman talaga perpekto, hindi binigay sa atin lahat. So why would we waste our energy and time pining ourselves, feeling sorry for ourselves for the things that we don't have? Para tayong bata na inagawan ng gamit, inagawan, hindi nakabili ng gusto. So instead of being in denial, you just say that, yeah, that's something that I really want, but I cannot have right now. For example, oh, I really would like to have slender arms, but it's something that I really cannot have. That's not me. So instead of focusing on what is it that we're insecure about, maybe we can start focusing on what we're good about. So instead of denying, start shifting your focus. So when we are aware also, and we know how to shift our focus, that's actually being accountable. Being accountable to ourselves, being accountable with God. And the third, this is for other people. Some people do not know that they're insecure at all. At ayaw nilang aminin, pero nakikita natin lahat. Do you know people like that? I would like to ask you, if you are dealing with insecure people, the ones who are always complaining, have self doubt, who have pride and arrogance, tend to be controlling, overly dependent, a victim, overtly comparing, and jealous, how do you deal with them? How do you deal with people around you who tends to be insecure? What is your best strategy? Ayan ang tanong ko. Kayo muna iiwanan ko ng tanong. Una, sagutin niyo ako. Do you know of people who are insecure and how do you deal with them? At ang gusto kong tanungin ko rin sa inyo, what about you? If you have a tendency to be insecure in one aspect of your life, how do you deal with it? Paano mo siya? How do you pivot yourself? How do you deal with it? How do you confront it? So, either it's with other people or with yourself, laging meron lumalabas na insecurity. Are you still here with me, friends? Do I get your answers? How do you deal with people who looks like they're insecure? How do you deal with yourselves if you are the one who's insecure? Tama yan, Rose. Abangan sa susunod na coffee break. But if you have answers, please put that in the comments so that I can capture it, and maybe that's something that we can start discussing next Thursday. Because on Thursday, we're going to talk about, if we are talking about insecurity, let's move on to being self-secured. Ayan. But I would end with this point by Mom Yang. I deal with acceptance and pray that I overcome it. Yes, you accept it and then tama. We cannot overcome it by ourselves. We need to really take hold of what the Lord would like for us. Lord, hindi ko kaya to. Ayokong makain nito. So please help me in dealing with this insecurity or dealing with the person who's insecure. So I hope that this is helpful for you, friends. I hope that you share this. You share this coffee break to family and friends who might really need this support. So if you have answers, please put that in the comment section. Share this live stream either via YouTube, Facebook, and of course in Spotify. And lastly, I would like to encourage you, if you would like to support what I do here in Coffee Break, please send stars. That's the digital gift that you will find in the comment section of your Facebook. That's my way of continuing the mission and paying for the subscriptions that I have here at Coffee Break so I can do more, so I can serve you and I can serve others as well. So if this coffee break has helped you, I hope you send it to family and friends, and I hope you send also stars to support me, Dr. Michelle Alignay. So, see you on Thursday for another fruitful discussion here at Coffee Break with Dr. Michelle. God bless you all.